Hey, what's up, guys? It's Kemak here, and welcome to the Crypto Daily Digest. And today is joining me Kevin from Yield Labs and Jan from Acquirify. Thank you so much, guys, for coming on the show. I'm very excited to be having you guys today because we have turmoil in the markets, and I'm sure everybody's asking the question: is crypto dead? And this question gets asked every single bear market. And I would like to hear what you guys have to say about what's happening in the marketplace with all the craziness with FTX. We've got we've got BlockFi, we've got Celsius, and all of these other platforms which are going pretty much into liquidation. So big welcome to the show, guys. Where are you joining us from today?
Want to go first?
From
Kevin,
Dubai. Or? Yeah. No, go for it, Jan, please.
You go. You started.
Yeah, I'm in Dubai. I'm usually in the UK, so I've been in Dubai for like 10 years on and off now. So yeah, back here again, enjoying the weather. Yeah, very nice.
Nice. Yeah, I'm in Bali at the moment. I've been living here from May. Before that, been living all around Asia. Asia is the place to be honest.
Beautiful. So we've two very different places. I am currently as well here in Dubai in the deal making factory, just staring at the charts, all of the news which is coming out and all of the craziness which is happening inside Telegram. So I think a good place to start the show would be to speak about what's happening with FTX. Which I think as more news comes out, the rabbit hole gets deeper and deeper and deeper. And we seem to be getting lost in all of this craziness which is coming out in the marketplace. You know, like what exactly is going on? What do you think is going on, Kevin, with FTX? Because I think with the contagion, the spread hasn't quite got to where it's needing to go to yet, and I think we're inbound for a larger capitulation in the market. But again, from my analysis, it pretty much looks like we're almost at the bottom and we are past the worst. So I'd love to get your views on what's happening with your expertise in the marketplace today.
Yeah. So what hasn't happened with FTX? It's almost Netflix drama type scenario at the moment. So it's absolutely ludicrous in terms of just the way that business was handled, the collateralization of just nothing constantly on the books, the way that the balance sheet was mismanaged, and just complete fraud on multiple levels. To be honest, it's absolutely crazy. So in terms of is that and then just like you say, the contagion, the knock-on effect, and the collapse one after another of kind of yield generation platforms, which is it's just crazy to watch the dominoes fall one after another. So yeah, is it over? And I think, first of all, is it over? Probably not. There's probably a few more to fall. And we probably haven't seen full capitulation yet in the market in terms of price action. I don't really typically see markets bottom in this fashion. It's usually pretty vicious or takes a very long time. So I'm not seeing either of those two play out yet. So I think there's probably a little bit more downside. And yeah, it's kind of the end for kind of, I think it's just after 10 years of Mt. Gox and then a big gap in between, and the same thing happening, but kind of worse in terms of collateral damage for crypto users in terms of numbers and capital. Then I think it's just the end of kind of centralization in that way, and we're just going to see a completely new approach, I think, with the new cycle and a new catalyst, and just the fake tokens, you know, leveraging everything that isn't sound collateral, and we're just going to see a real shift towards sound collateral on the blockchain, I think, with Acquirify type projects that are leveraging that technology, whatever else comes out. But yeah, we've tried it in the financial kind of money on crypto, and it's kind of just blown up with all the centralized actors. So I think we have to kind of move to more sound collateral on the blockchain before we start leveraging up again for the next cycle.
So would you say the next cycle, the narrative is going to be more on centralization, regulation, and sound asset-backed projects like Acquirify that are tokenizing, transparent assets, real-world assets? Because from my side, I would say that a lot of the trust is gone. There was a lot of people investing in stuff, even me, in things that didn't make much sense, that were offering, and I think we all fell foul to that, investing in these crazy APYs. But there was just so much money made, this bull market. So I can put my hand up there.
I think it's very easy to look at the end of the cycle and just say that was stupid and that was silly. But some of these projects had real promise to start with, and they were kind of and I was there at the beginning, so I kind of saw the kind of excitement, and people weren't doing this just for money. They were doing it for the kind of technology and the promise of giving out some yield, whatever percentage more than your bank, and kind of just doing it in an organic way, peer-to-peer lending. And then everything just got carried away, and just greed, the classic human emotions of greed. And you just mentioned, like, you as a participant, you had the greed, I had the greed, we all did, because it's subconscious in us. So we've got to just try and control that towards the end. And it was just irrational. So yeah, it's just a flush out of, and I'm kind of glad that it's over. Obviously I'm very a lot of people got hurt. I've been listening to some of these stories for a long time, so I'm just very sad by it, to be honest. But obviously time's a healer, and then if anyone can recover from this, then it's a great lesson, and then you'll kind of come back stronger. That's just kind of how it is. You just have to take one of these shots to the face almost when you first get into crypto, and if you can understand it and rationalize it and then come back and then kind of just work hard, then yeah, you tend to make it.
I think as well, with FTX, it's a very serious situation with a lot of people that are investing in crypto. Like from my perspective, there's a lot of immature money coming into the marketplace. So people investing their life savings and then leaving their life savings on these centralized exchanges, which they trust in, a bit like FTX. So we've got all of these people that have now lost their life savings, and I don't think the CEO is too concerned about all of the suicides that will be taking place. People that have saved up many, many years to put that money together on an exchange that they've trusted. And I think that's where education plays a big part in crypto, and helping to teach the community how to diversify strategically and intelligently in the marketplace by now allocating your crypto into real world assets, or at least projects that have a transparent agenda where you can see, okay, so this company here, for example, is investing in gold and silver, and then it's going to be stored at X location. So my NFTs are actually physically backed by collateral, and I can see that in X videos or paperwork. Or for example, I'm going to be investing in a company that's listed on Companies House in the UK that's owned by an SPV, let's say, in Cyprus. So everything is going to be on the public record. And I'm just giving you guys an example of of transparency, but unfortunately, I think there was a lack of transparency with a lot of these other centralized projects like FTX, like BlockFi, like Celsius. And I was very trusting myself in these projects. And at what point do you draw the line and say, that this is a sound and safe project, and it's safe for me to leave my money in? A bit like the banks. Banks in the UK insure your money up to £85,000. But again, any money that you leave in that bank over and above £85,000 is, you could say, it's uninsured, and if the bank goes down, then you lose your money. So I think diversification now is really the only answer. Education in the blockchain space, and understanding how to not just diversify in crypto, but across the board as well into other hard asset classes, because so many people have get completely wrecked, and I think we haven't quite seen the full extent of what's coming. I think there's going to be more coming out in the marketplace.
Yeah, I think overall with this FTX fiasco, so me myself, I'm in a very, very good situation overall. Like I was lucky, I had nothing in FTX, but I had so many friends like messaging me, having calls, being like, "Hey, do you know anyone from FTX?" I did know someone from there, but it didn't help me or my friends, so kind of unlucky. But my point here is that there was actually a lot of market making happening in FTX, which means that the markets at the moment, there's basically no floor. Like you need market makers to make the markets. And there was a private group where there was a quiz or a questionnaire done. And basically this private group has more than 200 different market makers. And there was a questionnaire, how much did you lose on FTX? Most of the money that were lost were between 50 to $100 million. That's a lot of money out of the system, a lot of money. That also means that we got all these bad actors away, which means that there's not a lot of leverage. So I don't think there's going to be a lot of drops coming still up. We see some drops coming now, but like, I don't know who is there to sell to anymore. Like BTC is holding 16,000 pretty well. It has been holding 1,200 pretty well. Like, I think we flushed out a lot of people from the system, and I think actually it's very good. But yeah,
I think the flush has been. It's just kind of like what happens next with FTX, Chapter 7, whatever. But I don't think they have an awful lot, even on the balance sheet, even if they were Chapter 7 and had to sell it all. So kind of Celsius, what happens? It'll probably be acquired, a lot of that. I think there'll be a bid and someone will pick it all up. So we just kind of watch these things now. This is going to take a long time for these to play out. But I just don't think, I think it's like pence on the dollar in FTX in terms of what they actually have left. So that even if they liquidated it all, I don't think it would be too crazy. And I think they're in the minus on Bitcoin and Ethereum. So there's nothing there to liquidate. There's just a load of altcoins left. It's crazy. I'm laughing, but it's really not funny if you've got enough in it, you know, like so. But I think a lot of, like you said, I think a lot of retail learned their lesson on the Celsius on the first one. And then they kind of were cautious and they reacted very fast with BlockFi and everything else. I know there was some laggards, obviously. And like you said, I think a lot of the market makers, bigger traders, institutions got caught in the second one. So everyone's been caught. And then everyone got caught in Luna before that. So it was the no escape.
But I fell foul myself to Luna. Celsius, not so much. But like you say, the lessons, I was well diversified. So I could stomach what I lost. But I think the lesson that we can all take away now is that as we start to perhaps dollar cost average into the markets, now I'll certainly be buying. I'm buying the levels that we're at now with Bitcoin, but not your keys, not your crypto. You need to be getting your crypto off of all of the centralized exchanges and then into cold storage and only using an exchange when you're going to be transacting, buying and selling, and then taking that crypto back off again and putting it into cold storage. But again, putting 100% of your crypto into one cold storage device, I don't think is a good idea. But having multiple cold storage devices, maybe a hot wallet as well, certainly is a good idea because we're talking about people's life savings, and people are working blood, sweat, and tears a lot of time. To earn the money that they're investing into Bitcoin, Ethereum, and any other cryptos that they plan putting their hard-earned cash into. So, like for me, I'm certainly going to be very cautious. I've removed all of my money from Binance. I've got no money at all on any of the other exchanges. I've taken everything that I've got and put it into cold storage. Because I think there's certainly more to come. I don't trust any exchange at the moment. Would you say that is there a risk to Binance? Like, do we need to worry about Binance? I did see a post saying it was either going to be Binance or FTX that went down, and it was FTX.
So my point here is that FTX was just a collateral. Like Binance could be next. Who knows? Like we don't know their books. We don't know what's happening behind the scenes. Knowing how, let's say, Binance VC team works, they're very aggressive. Kevin is already laughing, but I mean, it's never good in an industry if an exchange or whatever entity has more than 90% of the whole market share. It's never good. And ZZ knows this really well. He's going to be under a lot of pressure from different governments. And I think also this might be some national plays coming in. Like ZZ is not what he says he is. Like they are big backers behind Binance, and people who know Binance story knows that ZZ is just the front figure. Like he is there, he has his own cover, but behind the scenes there's a lot of things happening.
I think a lot of people are afraid of ZZ as well. Like I just see him getting a free pass in a lot of these streams, and people will be very hard on all the other companies, and then they're like, oh yeah, I'm friends with ZZ, we can't talk about him. So I think we just have to be honest, like what we should just do not us personally, but crypto as a whole should just do a campaign, just pull everything out of Binance, just pull it all out, put it on a cold
See what
storage.
happens.
Let's see what happens. Like, and then if it's cool, put some back, whatever, like I'm not suggesting a structure for people to do, but I just think we should be as critical as the ones that are still left as the ones that have fallen. And I think it's just hard to I think it's just opinion, isn't it? Because nobody really has the full two-sided balance sheet. Everyone just has what the assets, and nobody knows what the liabilities are. And Binance, specifically, they kind of, anyone who's been here long enough, they kind of know what happened in the beginning and how that was formed, and that wasn't exactly kosher. And he just seems to be getting he's like a hero at the moment, and everyone is defending him. I don't understand. It's like people just can't comprehend, like, I will just de-risk this and take it off all exchanges. They just have to like choose a figure and then celebrate him. It's just like, let's just be honest about them all. And as Ken says, just be cautious and diversify and create a proper portfolio. And if Binance stays and it lasts the test of time, that's cool, right? You can use it. But I think it's just to be honest at the moment. But people just have to choose somebody to stay with, and there has to be a god always in crypto, and that's kind of where people go wrong, I think.
I like the idea of a campaign to pull everything off the exchanges.
I have a question.
There used to be a campaign. There used to be a campaign, like, not every year, Bitcoin, people used to take all the Bitcoin back. It was like whatever it's called, not your keys day or something, and then they used to pull it all off, and it just kind of stopped about 2 years ago. I can't remember who did it. One of the OG influencers. Was it Trace Mayer? I think one of these type of people. They organized this, but after about 2 years ago, it stopped. So people used to pull it all off. So yeah, sorry, Jan.
No, my question is more like about the infrastructure that Binance has. I don't know if you guys saw FTX like corporate structure and how good they played basically the corporate game. So they have more than 50 shell companies. How many do you think Binance has?
I would hate to know. And
Yeah.
Remember the days you go into Binance, no KYC, and you could, with a phone number, you could transact in billions. I don't think that the governments will be the best friends of Binance for that reason, because they could be funding all sorts of craziness around the world. Who knows? Go back to the campaign of pulling all of your crypto off the exchange. Now, what would happen if you went to the bank and you pulled all of your money out of the bank, and everybody at the same time went to the bank and pulled all of their cash out? What would happen to the bank?
Well, we've seen it before, haven't we? So, it'd be riots in the streets and people fighting each other, and knives and stabbings, and just complete disarray, basically, outside of the bank. And then obviously the bank would just shut down, make a load of excuses, and then get the police involved or something, and then patch it up somehow. That's probably what would happen. But yeah, it wouldn't be pretty. And if it happened to all the banks at the same time, then yeah, it'd be a complete disaster. But
there we are. Ponzi, fractional reserve banking. I believe that everybody that's listening to this now should be downloading and reading the book, which I've got right here. In fact, it's called The Creature from Jekyll Island. And it says, where does money come from? Where does it go? Who makes it? The money magician's secrets unveiled. Here is a close look at the smoke and mirrors, the foolish cogs and wheels that create the grand illusion called money. A boring subject, just wait. You'll be hooked in 5 minutes. It reads like a detective story, which it really is, but it's all true. This book is about the most blatant scam in history. It's all here because of wars, boom bust cycles, inflation, depression, prosperity. Your worldview definitely will change. This may be the most important book on world affairs that you ever read. It's one of my favorite books, in fact. And this goes down to my second
one. It's
regulated Ponzi scheme.
A regulated Ponzi scheme. And I believe that everybody listening should become your own central bank. And to become your own central bank, you need to have cold storage, you need to have gold, and you need to have silver. Just think about the global economies and countries, central banks. They denominate their wealth in reserves of gold, not pieces of paper, because they create the pieces of paper. So we need to start doing what they do and not what they say. And I think now we're at a pivotal point in history where our freedoms and wealth have never been more in danger than what they are right now. And that's why, even if you think it's the market bottom, going all in is not a good idea. But when you understand Bitcoin, there's a Bitcoin standard right here. Like for me, I believe that the massive price increase in Bitcoin is physically programmed into the code. So, Bitcoin is coded, it's hardwired to go up in value. So, long term, especially buying at these levels, not financial advice at all, for me is a good long term investment. So, where do you think the bottom is in the market, Jan? What are you? Let's pull up the charts just now and take a look.
If you look at the BTC funding rate history at the moment, or BTC funding, we're at all-time highs, so to say. So people are shorting like hell. I think that's a good bottom sign. So I think there's a lot of people now flushed. There's no liquidity. If there's no liquidity, there's no leverage. If there's no leverage, there's only spot buying. I think overall, like we're starting to see quite the bottoming. Like I think a good measurement is also when people are starting to quit from the crypto industry and being like, all right, I'm gone. And so far I had this week at least 2 or 3 people came to me, very well-known VCs. They were like, all right, like this is it. I can't anymore do it. So I think we're close. I think we could still go maybe minus 30%, minus 40%, but we're definitely very low. And remember, like on the last bear market, I think BTC went from 20K. I think the bottom was 4K, and it went from 1,600 to $80. So I mean, like, okay, back then we didn't have all this institution money, we didn't have all these different technologies, but yeah, I think we're close. I think we're very close. But again, like despite we would hit bottom, I think we will still feel like these dumps coming along. And second of all, I think despite we would hit the bottom, we will go sideways for a while. The halving is coming next year, which is very good. So I think
2024.
2024. But still, like usually 6 months before the halving, BTC starts to pump a little bit, or the accumulation stage starts. So I think I don't know. I'm DCAing at the moment, not big amounts, but small, But yeah, that's my sentiment. I think we're very close. I would DCA from here and go all the way, maybe to 13, 14K. If you see
13K
14K,
is 20%, and if we dump 40%, we're looking at so we're looking at a 10K Bitcoin. In fact, I'm going to show you something.
The risk reward starts to stack up now. Like if we say the upside is 100K Bitcoin, like whatever, it could probably maybe go further than that one day. But let's say that the upside is 100, then anywhere down near the tens is a 10 to 1. It's or whatever 9 to 1 is. It's anywhere from 7 to 10 to 1. Risk reward ratio is crazy. Like so for a 2 to 3 year hold. So it's really attractive at those levels. That's why I've been waiting for the last year. I haven't bought anything. I've been completely out of altcoins since probably, I don't know when it was, end of 2021. So yeah, just waiting and just explaining to my community over and over that it just doesn't make sense technically. Technicals aren't always everything, but it's kind of just none of it made sense. The volume signatures, kind of what was going on, the exuberance with the altcoins, it was just silly, and it really hurt my brain, to be honest, just how ludicrous it was towards the end after that all-time high, the last one. So yeah, it just made no sense. Those risk rewards didn't make sense, but it's really starting to shape up to a decent medium to long-term hold at these prices.
Yeah, I think a 40% drop from here could be in play, which would take us basically to the $10,000 level, which would align with my prediction back in December 20th, 2021 during a Business Insider interview. This is when everybody was calling for $100,000 Bitcoin. I just simply couldn't see that momentum in the market. It just didn't make any sense. and that's when I actually started to leave most of my positions. Everybody was super euphoric back in November, December. After going through, quite a patch of bearishness as well last year. It was a bit of a tough bull market. You might disagree with me, but it was a tough one, to make these decisions and then finally decide, okay, this is the top of the market. We're not going to get that third wave, and this is it. I think there's too many crazy economic situations taking place in the marketplace with the virus and everything else. But I would be very surprised if we are going to have a double bottom at 15,800 and start pumping from here. This is possible, but like what I'm looking at now is this symmetrical triangle just breaking down from where we are now, probably down to
Your
14,000.
article is still here.
Oh, yeah, there we are. So what I'm looking at is, symmetrical triangle, continuation pattern in a bear market. So consolidation, which we're breaking down now. I can see it's going down to the 14K range. If we do break to the upside, I can see it's going up to between 18K and 20K, and perhaps that could be a retest and confirm the 20K as resistance, and then we're definitely going to go down. There's nothing in the marketplace which is telling me that we're going to break bullish. All of my indicators as well are saying to me that we're due to go lower from where we're at just now. I'm going to just take a quick look at the Bollinger Bands on the weeklies. I know that they were tightening. Let's take a quick look.
Every time we break the 7-week moving average, everyone just FOMOs in and says, we're going up, we're going up. We haven't even printed a higher high. I have no idea what people are looking at. It just shows me that they're completely irrational still, and they're way too bullish. So they're probably going to get wrecked some more first. And then once all those people just say, that's it, we're going down to 5K or whatever ridiculous target they have, then we'll break trend. But the longer we kind of stay in this pattern, the easier it is to break trend the other side. So if all these moving averages keep pumping down, it keeps shifting down, then it only takes whatever, $10,000 move just to break through them, and then we're off to the races a little bit if we can back test and go. So just needs more time.
Historically, Bitcoin does find a bottom between 550 days before the next halving. So that would be round about now. And I'm expecting Bitcoin to find its bottom between now and sometime in January. And then, like you say, some sideways consolidation, bouncing between support and resistance between Q1 next year, and then the halving, which will be probably about March 2024. But I would be very, very shocked if there's not more pain to come. And what I'm really waiting for is everybody to start calling out Bitcoin is, crypto been dead. Exactly what's happened in the last bear markets. Crypto's dead. It's not coming back. That's it. Everything's getting wiped out. It's the end of the asset class. It's a very young asset class. It's 10 years of age, but I don't think we're quite at that level yet. Who would have thought that we're going to go down to $3,000-$4,000? 2021, that was the buying opportunity of the century, and I don't quite believe that we're at that level yet where we're getting the buying opportunity of the century, where you're going to start emptying all of your bank accounts and the pennies in your piggy bank into Bitcoin. I'm just not convinced that with everything that's been happening that we're quite at that level yet. I just want to go back to FTX again. So just to understand the situation in a little bit more detail. And when we speak about the contagion, spreading, what else do you expect to come, or what else can come from the FTX situation, Jan?
Regulation for sure. Regulators, this is like the best dream. One of the biggest exchanges, unregulated, took money from the poor. Basically, that's what happened, and that's how the regulators are going to see. I think there's going to be also regulation around stable coins, which is actually a good thing. We know like what is BUSD backed by. We know what USDT is backed by. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. Same thing with Circle and USDC. I think there's a lot of positive things for sure coming in. But I think something that was really funny watching this all happen, and nothing is funny. I understand. Like, there's a lot of people lost a lot of money. I feel very sorry for them. But like all these scammers, like Zuzu, like from Three Arrows Capital, like Duke Won, all these Streckel, even all they came out and started again being public figures. And for me, as a crypto, being here for 10 years, I still don't get it. Like, we forget so fast. We forget so fast. These guys, they lost billions of dollars. They haven't been in prison yet. They're still out there, and they're still in crypto Twitter being public. I mean, I I personally can't understand it. Like,
they're all in safe havens, and they're
Yeah.
it is like a baton. We just kind of pass the baton to the next bad actor, and then the bad actor gets exponentially worse because just the magnitude of what goes on. So it was Celsius, there was Do Kwon, then it was Celsius, and now I go in streams now with lots of people in there, and Celsius doesn't even get mentioned. It's all kind of
yeah,
FTX and
I
everything else that
that.
is around. Like, it's forgotten, like completely
Yeah.
forgotten, and people are not even talking about this. Like 300, 600,000 people wrecked all their life savings into this thing. So it's like, yeah, it's crazy. But I think probably there is a chance that Sam Bankman-Fried just walks away because he's
That's what I believe.
everything. It's almost too embarrassing to unpick it, right? Like,
Yeah.
to unpick it and to go deep, they probably just want to brush it over, right? Give him big fine, or they'll just. And to be honest with you, I think as humans, if we spend too much time getting emotional about it, because it is kind of wrong, and I don't want to see any human go to jail, even though he's kind of acted. He is borderline, to be honest. That the level of Celsius was different. It was kind of a mismanaged business, but this is just like outright fraud on most of what's going on there. So. I don't want to see anyone in jail personally. It doesn't benefit me or anybody's family. So yeah, but I think there's a good chance that they just get away with it. Whatever that means, they're going to carry this around forever, like in their memory, in their legacy. But they might stay out of jail.
The
I
name
think
Doc
there's
Wan
actually-
rings a bell.
Yeah, I think
Was
there's
that the guy
actually
that was running Invictus?
No, it's Luna.
Luna.
Luna, yes.
Yeah, there's one point I want to make. Custodial services, they're gonna be questions. They're gonna be questioned a lot, and I think decentralized different applications and decentralized exchanges are gonna be very hot. Like, who wants to trade anymore on a centralized exchange? Like, there's GMX coming up on Arbitrum. There's DXYD also now. Like, there's a lot of opportunities for this. I think the industry itself will go more and more towards decentralization, which is very good. Like, everything is open, everything is there to see, and we can finally, like you said, Kevin, like, this is one phase, and the next phase will be probably more decentralization and more open. Like, I think this whole FTX thing, it's very sad, it's very bad for the industry, but there's a lot of positive outcomes also coming out.
It will happen again because in a year or two, people just forget. I still see now today, even this week, people, even my girlfriend, I was arguing with her. She had funds on an exchange, and I'm just like, what are you doing? Just get them off. Like, I do this full time, and she had some small funds on an exchange. And there is just from the person that doesn't do crypto all the time, they don't want to self-custody. They just don't want to do it. So there's always going to be these honey traps where everyone goes back and someone mismanages the business. Hopefully it gets smaller and smaller, and we don't wipe out half of crypto like we did this time. We wiped 2 billion off the entire asset class, 2 trillion off the asset class. But it will. It is just a logical stage. We tried this money thing for so many years. It's kind of worked in phases. We've built a lot of DeFi rails and all these cool things. Uniswap works and the exchanges work, and now you're seeing these perp dexes. They work. So I think once you start to migrate the kind of physical assets on the chain as sound collateral with these mechanisms, and then maybe there's some centralized hybrids that actually get licenses this time and regulate properly, have custody segregation, all these different things. Once you blend all this together, I think if we do the physical assets on chain right, we can really start to relate. And then we kind of take away all this MetaMask and this layer. There's a lot of gateways and payment rails that are being built now where you can just buy NFTs, which would represent a physical asset. with just a credit card, and then it stores the NFT for you. So once we get kind of that, and then that is a real use case to bring people in. Just bringing them in just for finances and savings accounts has not worked. It's really failed, and we've kind of gone backwards probably from in terms of reputation now. So we just have to make sure this is right when we do it, and then that we don't rug pull all people on physical assets. Because if we do that, then you may as well just quit crypto, because there's going to be no other use case for it really. Or we just have this little side game we all play, like penny stocks, where we're just messing around, and that would be a sad, because the technology is amazing really, and the kind of separation between the technology that's being built and kind of all of this sideshow and price action, people just don't understand. Like the technology is, if the technology wasn't any good, it would be gone by now, because there's been that many scams and rugs, and it would be gone. We would just shut it down. But it's only because the technology is so good and so empowering that we're even still here after all this.
It's a very good point, Kevin. Did you just go back in FTX there as well? I think it's possible that Sam was used as a pawn to push regulation. And I don't believe that he's going to go to jail at all for what's happened. I can't see that happening.
I mean,
they got to get him first. They got to get him first. Like he's in the Bahamas or whatever he's doing out there. I just don't care really. I just hope people are okay and haven't lost too much money. But I will follow the story, of course. And if we find the sex tape and all the other stuff that's going to come, oh God. I didn't even know about this. My girlfriend told me this. She was like, "Yeah, they were all doing this and this and the thing." I was like, "How'd you even know this stuff?" I'm like, "I'm just drilling into like 20 hours of content."
Down the rabbit hole.
Yeah, and I didn't even know that. She knew the one piece of gossip about people having an orgy or whatever. I was just like, "Oh Christ, you've been watching? What are you? What outlets?" She must be on Instagram. She got that one from or something.
But I don't really. Ridiculous. I don't really believe that there's a sex string behind Sam. Like, I met Sam a couple of times. I worked along Ryan Salame. He was in 2018 in Hong Kong, actually in co-work, drinking beer all the time with me. I don't see that happening. Like Sam was so into work, like I I can't even. It's an ugly picture to imagine even, like it's that bad, like at some point
it's a lot of insiders are saying it. A lot of insiders are saying, yeah, there is tapes and there is this, but whoever these people are just trying to get likes. I don't know.
Everybody, like when something like this happened, everybody comes out with their story. It's like, and how do you know that story is real? But again, I do agree with you, like Sam, before getting caught, he just sent $40 million to the Democrats. Like, that's why?
Indirectly funding the Ukraine.
Yeah, like there's a lot of scammy things that he did. And also his mom has a, organization in United States with more than $140 million assets on management and lobbying for Democrats. I think that tells you something already. Like, but who knows? Some are saying that this was a CIA operation all along, but I don't know.
Yeah, who knows? But all that we do.
I'm sad about that interface. I love that interface. It was a great experience. Like,
for traders.
Kevin,
that's a good point. Like from trader perspective, like FTX was the best place to be, and that's why all these market makers, pro traders, like. We need these places eventually. Like we need perps, we need leverage. Unfortunately, they're part of the industry, but you need them. And who's gonna take that place? Is it Bybit, Binance, or decentralized perps? I don't know. That's a good question. Maybe you guys can give some thought about that.
Okay, guys. Well, listen. Thank you very much for joining me on the show. To everybody who's listening, please be safe. Get your crypto off of all of the exchanges, whether it's Nexo, Binance, even MetaMask. Get yourself a Ledger, SafePal, Trezor, whatever it is that you want to use, and just be safe. And remember, only risk what you're willing to lose. And the best strategy to invest in these market conditions is to dollar cost average, because we really don't know what's around the corner, how far this contagion is going to spill, and what's going to be coming next, because who could have seen these events taking place with Celsius, BlockFi, FTX, and so on and so forth. So guys, we look forward to joining you on the next show.